minutes ahead. Okay, I have no idea why it suddenly made me the host. So I'm not the host.
Hello. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay, excellent.
Oh, we can't see you.
Oh yes, I will be sharing my screen.
Awesome.
1 second.
And good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. Dave.
Well, thanks, Adam. And I can see a few folks in the room, and while Adam is getting ready to screen or to share his screen, let me just say thanks for everybody for giving up some of your Tuesday evening and spending it with us. Can anybody on the proximity side? Oh, great. There's a couple of chat comments just confirming that we're good with audio. I'm going to hand this over to Adam momentarily because he's going to do the real work. But I thought I'd just take a moment to create just some context and a little bit of history in terms of the relationship with proximity, the product Sophia, and start just with a moment or two on the company Link Systems, since for many of you, this may be your introduction to both the product and to us. My name is Dave Littlehale. I'm the VP of Business Development. I'm Chicago-based. Most of our companies down in Tampa, where Adam is. But I work with some of our larger partners nationally, and I'm thrilled to have started working with the proximity folks, people like Mikan and Elizabeth and Ricardo almost 2 years ago now. And we've been a tool in the proximity toolbox for almost 1.5 years now, and close to 3,000 proximity students have taken an assignment or lots of assignments in Sophia. So just the quick background there. Adam will do the work as our product manager, managing everything Sophia out of our Tampa office. And we've been an ed tech company for close to 20 years. We're probably best known in the sort of student success and ed tech world as an online tutoring company with NetTutor 24/7, human tutors on the other end of the browser, helping folks with math and writing and lots of other subjects. And that's probably our biggest brand. We've actually had the math assessment tool in the market for over 15 years, but it's till we developed and launched Sophia, it's been white labeled in a lot of publisher platforms, things like McGraw-Hill's Connect or Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's Personal Math Trainer. But the algorithmic engine and the question development's been going on for longer than a decade, and we made the choice to bring this product, Sophia, to market. We saw an opportunity where no one else was fully integrated into Canvas as a native tool in Canvas, so that teachers and students wouldn't have to deal with individual logons or separate browsers or anything, but see assignments in Canvas as they see other assignments, and grades would populate automatically into the grade book. And the other reason that we thought there was an opportunity is we're not tied to any particular textbook, and so we can give teachers and institutions some pretty dramatic flexibility, and we can bring the product to market with a degree of affordability that tends to be appealing in a cost-sensitive market like all of them are. And then just a word or two about Sophia itself before Adam gets busy. It's one way to think of it is it's a library of math assessment items, over 7,000 math assessment items, ranging from basic math up to pre-calculus. And the vast majority of those are algorithmic in nature. So there's somewhere from multiple to almost unlimited iterations of each problem at a similar learning objective and degree of difficulty. But that algorithmic nature provides lots of benefits at a teacher and pedagogical level. Adam's going to go into the details on that. And there's ways that these items are organized in our question banks and, you know, in sort of course configurations that would be familiar to you. But one of the benefits of this library is you have access to all of the items. You can pick and choose if you're, depending on, you know, some unusual courses or just some unusual or non-traditional interests that you might have. So that's a super quick, thanks for giving me the opportunity to do that introduction. As I hand it to Adam, any comments or questions? I'm checking the chat, and I'm not hearing the feedback or the noise, which I often do, and which will often encourage me to put the message out that some others have. So I'll immediately go on to mute as I hand it to Adam, but if anyone else that's joined us isn't on mute, if you could, because I know that's just a real challenge with this many folks on the call. But as I acknowledge all those folks, again, a significant group of folks have joined at the end of a long day and in the midst of other training that's going on. So we do really, really appreciate your time. We really appreciate the collaboration with you, teachers and your students. And with that, Adam, thank you for taking over from here. But at any point, please interrupt either of us with questions, either directly or via chat. So take it away, Adam.
Oh, thank you very much, Mr. Littlehill. Can everyone still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, great. So the first thing I wanted to just ask is, do we have any users of Sophia because in the meeting today, or is everyone here new to Sophia, completely new?
We've typically had a mix of people that are brand new and people that are more familiar.
Okay.
So I'm seeing in the comments some folks that have used it, a couple that have just tinkered with it, and some that are new. So I think we're going to have a pretty good range. It sounds like so far maybe only one hand up in terms of a deeper user, but at least tinkered with the product and are familiar with it. Adam, if that's helpful.
Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, so I saw that we have some users. If you have any sort of technical issues, or if you're already a user and you would like to discuss some advanced training, you can go ahead, email me at the email I just placed in the chat, and we can touch base there and talk about any technical issues you may have, or advanced training that you'd be interested in, things such as blueprints and copying courses and the like. So today we'll just go over a basic broad overview of what Sophia is capable of. And I wanted to just start in a place that you'd all be familiar with, which is the basic home screen of a Canvas course. And as you can see with Sophia's integration, Sophia integrates into Canvas almost seamlessly, and it's just right there on your tab, left side tab, and you can go ahead and access Sophia by clicking on it. Now that is going to actually bring up your actual Sophia locker, and you're now actually in an app within the Canvas app, which is our native Sophia app. I did also want to just quickly jump over here into assignments. Now I know that proximity uses modules, but just to sort of give you a brief overview. So this is actually a Sophia assignment, and we'll actually go into how those are published. But it's just completely integrates, looks just like a regular Canvas assignment. You click on it and it takes you into the actual Sophia test bank. So moving back over to actual Sophia. As an instructor, you would be presented with your assignments that you already have in your locker, and those are basically assignments that you've created yourself, and you'd like to use them either for the course as a blueprint or just to be able to refer back to in terms of what you're going to deploy out to your students. You can create a new assignment, you can view the progress of students in your course, and then you can access some resources and support that can sort of give you some basic additional information on how-to guides on Sophia. So the first thing we'll do is we'll go to create a new assignment. Now with create a new assignment, you can either start completely from scratch or you can use Get Me Started. Now the cool thing about Get Me Started is that we actually have several banks. We don't call them books, but you could technically synonymize those two because our banks are basically banks of content that are linked towards a general mathematical course load. So you'd have basic college math, is one bank, college algebra, high school algebra, so on and so forth. Now, each bank actually has hundreds of learning objectives and has hundreds of question templates. Now, the question templates that we have actually are algorithmically generated and are dynamically changing templates. So they change the numerical permutation that each question consists of, obviously within the range of what that particular mathematical learning objective would require. But in order for the question to cover the specific learning objectives. So instead of having a finite number of permutations of a particular question or learning objective, you actually could have up to tens of thousands of different permutations. So obviously the diversity of that permutations enables you to sort of, have students have a dynamic number of assignments, have unique assignments, and have multiple attempts at an assignment so that they can actually have more time and more exposure to learning objectives that will aid in their mastery. So generally, for instance, we'll see data on assignments, 400 assignments deployed, but then it says attempts on assignments 4,000. We had that for one school. And the reason was because the students are able to reattempt the assignments and they're fresh permutation, so their practicing is going up so that when they actually get to the test that they're supposed to do, they've actually been able to practice so much and not been stuck with just a finite number of questions and hit or miss to be able to do it. Okay, let's see here. Oh, I see some questions here in the chat.
Sorry.
Yes.
See. I'm going to do my best to keep up with the chat, and when I think there's something that needs your help, and there could be many of those, I'll try to gently interrupt. But I think we're doing okay.
Sure. So let's go ahead and just demo adding an assignment to the course. So we'll start with let's say high school algebra 2. So once we're in high school algebra 2, we basically here have some sample, a lot of sample assignments that are sort of we've created for you that you could go ahead and use for your course. So let's say we wanted to use graph equations of lines. So we'd go ahead, we'd click on that. And by just clicking on it, we'll actually get a preview of some of the questions that we'd see inside it. And as we're previewing some of the questions, we're seeing that, there's some multiple choice with the graphs, there's plotting intercepts. It looks good. So what we're gonna go ahead and do is, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna copy this. Now once we copy this, we're copying the assignment to our library, and it's gonna go into our personal locker. And from there, we can actually get it ready and then deploy it to Canvas. So I click OK. Now it takes me over to my locker. Now in my locker, I can go ahead and I can edit the assignment. And the first thing that's going to come up is the policy manager. And the policy manager is going to enable us to sort of set the basic rules of engagement for the assignment for the student. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to set a time. We're going to go ahead, set a start date and a due date. And what we can actually do is we can actually set a minimum score needed for this assignment, and we can set a minimum score if the assignment is a prerequisite for others. So the other thing we can do is choose whether we want the first submission to be accepted, the last submission, or the best of all submissions that that we choose to accept, as well as whether we choose to accept the assignment if it's past the due date. We can also set our category being a practice or a test. Now, if you notice here, we have the Ask My Instructor, which you'll see once we deploy this. That enables the student to once they have a problem on a question, they can actually click on it. And they can send you a note as the instructor, and they will also send you a copy of the question and exactly where they are on the question. If that's a test, that's obviously not going to be turned on. But it will be generally in practice, and you can actually select the number of repetitions that you want. So, when we were seeing, 400 deployed, there's unlimited repetitions. So the students were able to take the assignments again and again and again, in order to fulfill that actual dynamic practice. So we'll just go ahead and give this the name of proximity copy of graph equations of lines. We'll save it. Now, once we save it in the policy manager, we're now taken to the question manager. Now, so the interesting thing about the question manager is that you have your bank as a sort of superior subject. That's the course, right? The bank refers to your course, or your what you would call a book traditionally, and then within that you have topics, and you can go through the various topics. Then you have obviously subtopics of a topic, just organized just like a textbook. And then within the subtopics, you're going to have specific learning objectives. So it's that sort of building block approach where you have the learning objectives, and learning objectives come together to create a subtopic, and a series of subtopics come together to serve a topic. And of course, that comes together to serve all those topics come together to serve the general, theory course objective, which would be, our book objective of high school algebra. So you can actually go ahead, you could preview questions. So what this is doing, the reason you see it taking a little bit of time is because it's actually, dynamically generating questions as it goes along. So it says, okay, I'm going to dynamically generate these 10 questions. Here we go. And we can go ahead, we can preview these. Here's a lovely one with plotting that you can actually plot on this one. And what you can do is you can say, you know what, I don't necessarily like this one, so I don't like that question. I can remove that question. That question is removed. Or I can remove another question just like that. And so you've previewed the actual questions. You can hit close. And this will actually present an updated list to you. What you can also do is, I just saw here a question different. You pull some questions from a few different topics.
It felt like a great time to address that question. Kind of a perfect,
Yes, I'm trying to glance between my screens. Okay, so let's say that we're here in topic 2. And let's actually say, hey, you know what? We want to throw in a real extra credit challenge here. So what we're going to do is we jumped all the way over into college algebra. We didn't even go in the same topic. We went to a whole different bank, and we said, you know what? We are going to throw some arithmetic expressions, divide using the order of operations. Let's go ahead. Let's check that out. Let's view that. And so we've generated a question about that. This one seems really simple, actually. Let's see if I can, here we go. There we go. All right. So let's find the equation of a particular parabola. Now we're talking. Now this is a real extra credit question. So I like that one. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to click add this question. And then I'm going to close. And now that question has been added to our standard practice. And as you can see, the 2 refers to the high school, that's the sort of the book code of high school algebra. And the 7.17, that's referring to the topic of analytical geometry and conic sections, a brief introduction to analytical geometry. So let's go ahead and do that again. Let's throw in some pre-calculus now. So we jump over to pre-calculus. And we decide we want to do polynomial and rational functions. And we want the remainder and factorial theorems. Then we use synthetic division to find zeros. Let's go ahead and view that. All right, nice and challenging. And we're gonna click add this question. And we're gonna close. And we've also added that. So now we're gonna actually preview this again. So it dynamically generates our questions. And there we've got some, more challenging at the end. We've got find the equation of a particular parabola, synthetic division to find zeros. They're there. We're gonna hit close. We're gonna hit save and close. And that's the new modified assignment with the policy measures that we've put in with the due date and things like that, as well as the new question setup has been added to our assignment, but it hasn't yet been deployed. So we can go ahead, we can click here, and we get a little preview of it. We can sort of move through our questions, and this is as the student would see the assignment. So we can sort of navigate through. We want to make sure that those questions that we added are there. Oh, and there we go. Let's see. I have to keep going towards the end. I didn't realize I added so many questions. So here we go. Here's our question from college algebra. And then here's our other questions. So we have our both synthetic division of 0 questions, right? And those are added there. And so we say, okay, this is good to go. I like what we see here. So let's go ahead and let's deploy this assignment. So we click deploy. And we're reminded, hey, you're deploying your assignment to Canvas. It'll show up in your assignment group. Don't worry, you can move it. And of course, you would move into modules, which is very, very important for proximity, because we had a issue with a couple professors at proximity. They were obviously deploying to assignments, but they would have to move out of assignments and into modules for them to be used. So I see that Ms. Downing has another question about tests. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna do something, I'm gonna copy proximity copy of graph and equations. And I am gonna go ahead, I'm gonna make it a test. Okay, now once
and
it's-
while you're doing that though, I'm gonna not keep everybody in suspense in that sense. Adam will show you how this works with the different, low to high stakes, but to reassure you that on tests, the hint and show me features, are disabled, but there's a lot of flexibility, between low and high stakes, which I'm getting in the way of Adam's graceful showing of now, but just to make sure we're quick and clear on that.
Yes, that is true. So let's go ahead and so what we're gonna do is we just deployed our standard assignment, and then we also had our test, right? So let's go ahead and click here, and then we'll notice that we have hint, show me, and your turn. They're quite visible. And then we're gonna go ahead and look at test. And you'll notice that the hint, show me, and your turn is not visible. The email your instructor is visible because obviously the student might have there might be a structural problem with the question, that something the student doesn't understand. So they can go ahead and they have that there. But we have some other, tutor, ask a tutor, that's not activated on a test. Because obviously you don't want the students to get help from tutors on a test. And generally those are not activated, I believe, for proximity assignments. But that option is not there. The option to report a problem, report an issue, to print the question, as well as to email you, the instructor, with any issue that the student may have, that is going to be there. But the hint and those items are not going to be there. I should also say that in one of our upcoming updates, we're actually going to have timed tests. So you as the instructor will be able to set a time on the test. And in doing so, you can say, look, you can take this anytime, but once you take it, you have 2 hours to hit save and close. So that will help.
Adam, there's an interesting question that I don't feel confident of my answer on from Karen Duff. If you can still see that on your screen, but I'll read it.
Yes. So I mean, the only way to really exit the assignment really is to hit save and close. Now, if the student closed the browser window without hitting save and close, or that could produce this issue. But if something like that happens, we should receive a report of it immediately. Now, as far as seeing attempts by the student, you can actually.
But just to be clear, Adam, and this is so you're saying if the student does anything but just close the browser inadvertently without saving the work, that there's not easy access to that. But if the student has completed the assignment and exited in any other way, the teacher would be able to see the attempts?
Yes. I'll show. I need to find this is a demo course, so I need to find an active gradebook instance for you. Actually, if I do this, I believe I've deployed it. So what I'm going to quickly deploy this assignment. And I am going to view as a student and try an attempt, and that should generate a student in the gradebook. All right, so doing the authorization, which is of course, so all students are going to see those 2 screens where it says you need to authorize Sophia for Canvas. And you also need to accept the end user license agreement. If they click cancel on any of those, they're not going to be able to access Sophia. They're not going to be able to access the assignment. So it's very, very important that the students understand this. And because we had a lot of complaints about that, but it's like any software, you have to have an end user license agreement, and you have to also authorize it to access your instance as a student even of Canvas. So determine the place value of 2, that's 100,000. We will go ahead and check our answer because this is a practice. Then we're just going to hit save and close. All right, and then we're going to leave student view. Now we're going to go back to Sophia, and this should generate there. So we've actually generated a student. So I can actually view, if you just saw there, what the students put in so far because of the nature of this assignment. This assignment is you can submit make as many attempts as you want, and we'll take the best one. So the last attempt that they've submitted, we can actually just very easily just click on the in progress, and we can see exactly what's going on there and what the student is actually doing, and so we're able to see that. So in the case of instructor Duff, where the student says she forgot to save the work after completing the assignment, if you actually go into your gradebook and click on the student's grade or the student's name, you should be able to actually just like I just did here, pull up what the student had done so far. So that should be able to sort of give you some sort of oversight on what the student is doing in that regard. And you could actually click on the name of the student here and you'll sort of get a more detailed breakdown. And we do have some updates to the gradebook coming next week. Right, so if you are seeing it as all blank, because it's only going to say, depending on how you set it, first, last, or best. If you have that assignment set to best and they took it and they got 1 out of 10 or 3 out of 10, they would have to beat 3 out of 10 for that to be reflected in the grade book, because the best is always going to be 3 out of 10. If you did last, then no matter what the last score was, if they got a 3 out of 10 and reattempted with 0 out of 10, then then what you will see is the 0 out of 10 attempt. And if it's the first attempt, then obviously there's only one time, one go, and that's all you would see. So if you'd like to email me again, and we can coordinate, I can actually help look into this and look into the database and see what's going on, just to make sure everything is okay with that student, and to make sure that situation is resolved in a great way.
No, that's great. Thanks, Adam. And it sounds
yeah.
like Karen will shoot you an email, which is perfect.
Yes, please do. Please do. So let's actually go back home. We'll go to Sophia and work with assignments in your locker. And so we can go to edit. And let's see, so we have, okay, great. So I just realized I was on the wrong screen there. Okay, so so we've got a test copy, we've got our proximity copy. So these are all deployed. So I go to assignments, and of course, now I'm gonna have to publish them. So I can choose to publish them. And there's something that I wanna also show you. So right now, this course that I'm in, this is actually a blueprint course. And a blueprint course, as you know, is sort of well, it's called Parent A. And so it's like a parent course, and it can push content down to children courses. So what I wanted to show you was that, so I'm publishing these 3 assignments here. Then I click on
one thing,
yes.
Adam, that we probably don't understand, as well as the folks on the webinar understand, is how proximity handles parent and child courses. So some of the folks on here may have their own parents and children, and some may be working with all, but just to understand at a higher level that there is this capability that Adam's describing, that it takes advantage of the blueprint capability as well on Canvas.
Yes, and it depends on the integration that the institution may have. Some institutions can make use of it. Some institutions use their contractor to create a custom sort of solution, and it doesn't necessarily work. But we do support blueprints, and what I'd like to show you here is, so this is the Blueprint Parent course, and then this is the Blueprint Child course. So you see here in the assignments for the Blueprint Child, we only have the 1 assignment now. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and click in my Blueprint tab up here, and I have an association, just one association with this Blueprint Parent course, which is the Blueprint Child course. So I check that I have this association, and then I have 4 unsynced changes, which obviously have to do with the new assignments that I added. And then I can choose to sync. Now, this can probably sometimes take, like, it used to be very, very, very fast. I'm not sure why it's sort of gotten slow. I used to see it done in like 20 seconds, but now I think it takes up to 40 or 50 seconds. And what it will do, it's basically pushing these new assignment changes that we've made down to the child course. So let's say that you teach five different sections at 4 different schools. You can have one Blueprint Parent course where you've got all your assignments. You don't have any students in that course. You've just got assignments in that course. But you can push those assignments to each of your individual sections as long as they are associated with that Blueprint parent course. So that way you can quickly disseminate your custom content and all the work that you've put into creating your custom locker for assignments, and as well as the structure of your modules. You can disseminate it to all the courses that you're teaching, or other instructors, you know. So if you have a really good setup that you'd like a new instructor that's just coming on board with Sophia to try, they can associate their course with yours, and they can actually get the content pushed to their course. And again, I do apologize for Canvas taking so long. I wonder if I just come over here and refresh, if we might see some of it, or if it just all comes as, okay, there we go. We have some there. So if you just saw there where I just refreshed, the assignments now showed up in the child. So here they are in the parent, and they weren't there before, and now they're here in the child. And now inside the child, we can click on the assignment. Oh, and we have an error. Oh, because this, I have not made this. I know what I need to do. I need to create an assignment here. And let's see here.
So while
Okay.
I don't, I was going to ask the group if there are any parent-child or copy course questions that folks have, and Ms. Downing just is asking us that, mentioning that 3 of the folks teach the same course at a school and share a blueprint, and do they need to have Sophia added to that blueprint so they can take advantage of that capability?
Yes. So if you have Sophia added to the blueprint, and then you associate those courses with the blueprint, then you'll be able to push the assignments down to the courses.
Thank you.
Yes, so you'll be able to push them through. I think the issue is because I don't know why
I think it's actually probably trying to do this all through, through a Zoom room.
Oh, well, okay, yeah, there's one that works. It's because it's not fully propagated yet, so that's why. But it generally does not take this long, and it's not on our end. Why it's taking long? It's something with Canvas. But generally, so you'll have the assignment just completely copied over into the unique course. Actually, what I wanted to show you in this unique course was I'll just create something from trigonometry. I'll copy this over. Which one did I choose? I forgot which one. Properties. Okay. Properties of triangles. Okay. Okay. So then I'll go ahead. I'll make my basic edits. I'll set a due date, and then I'll deploy this course, and you'll see that this will deploy independently. And so that means that you have full control of the Sophia Locker of the associated course, independent of the parent course. So you don't have to worry about the parent course being affected if you decide to make any individual changes in your child course or your associated course. So we can deploy the assignment. Okay, properties of triangles, and then we come to assignments here. Oh, that's still going. All right, so we can publish this. We can click on it. And so the assignment opens. So we have the assignment here in the child, but if we look at the parent, okay, so the parent's calling the sync history. Okay, so updates are done. And as you see that it doesn't reflect inside So we have the additional one, but it's not here in the parent. So it doesn't go up to the parent. It's completely separate. So the parent will not, the parent will not be affected by any individual changes you make in the child, no matter how many children associations you have. They're actually separate on their own Sophia instance. So that allows you to sort of retain that independence within your courses. So if we head over back to Sophia.
So Adam, one of my other jobs is
Yes.
to remind you that given your hard stop at 6:25, you've got 7 minutes, and
Oh, yes.
just want to make sure that you use that however you want to use that, and especially that we give folks a chance. If some questions get surfaced now that we can't respond to before 6:25, we absolutely will. And you've got Adam's contact information, and I'm going to make sure you have mine, and you can email Adam and/or me, but especially Adam. But somehow, if you can't find Adam's, I will make sure Adam gets any and all questions, and you guys just keep firing away with any questions if we don't get to them all.
Yes, thank you. And Instructor Duff, I did see about the assignments, the due date. So if you choose, so if we go back over to the assignments, and if you choose don't allow on past due, they've got no access. But if you choose allow, you can choose to post a grade, and then you can choose to take points off for their submission if you so desire. Or you could choose to not post a grade. And in the case you not post a grade, it's, you're just giving them a credit for it if you choose. But you can, you have these options, but that is definitely in the allow or don't allow. Don't allow, then the student, unfortunately can't, submit that assignment. But if you choose allow, then they can, and you can choose if you want to take points off for a late submission. Does anyone have any additional questions I could answer? And please please do not hesitate to use that email for any and all questions. Any issue that your students are having, stop, email me. Adam, we're having an issue here. This is what the issue is. And I will absolutely look into it.
And while Ms. Downing is, just to know that Adam's incredibly responsive, and I know sometimes you're running into an issue where you need to get back to a student or you've got a grade issue and time's of the essence. And we collectively try really hard to be responsive, and Adam is phenomenal. So please take advantage of that.
Oh, yes. Okay. Ms. Downing, so let's go into searching topics. So one of the ways that I like to search topics is, let's say, basic college math. And so right here in the top right, there's a search bar. Let's say I just type division. So I just type division, and it just searches 56 total entries and gives me the 6 entries that use division. So let's say we wanted, I don't know, equation. And just like that, I can sort of search for equations. So if there's a learning objective that you have in your mind, or that you're finding from open education resources or wherever, just the basic name of the learning objective, or what you're trying, what you would be trying to mathematically accomplish, then basically all you need to do is just, go ahead here and click search. Yeah, it's, you know what? And I'm going to annotate that you missed that search box, because truth be told, Ms. Downing, I miss that search box a lot too. So I think I need to make it a little bit more, a little brighter.
It's funny. I think so too, Adam.
Yeah.
So don't feel bad.
I'd be 10 times more productive at my job if I actually used that search box.
So we are very close to the wrap up time. again, we've shared contact information, so this isn't the end of anything. We'll stay in touch with the folks that we work closely with at Proximity, because we're willing to offer these kind of opportunities whenever you'll have us. And we know there are fairly regular professional development opportunities. But short of that, we're happy to do stuff on the fly and can whip up a quick WebEx or something like that if there's a thornier problem. Don't think that this has to be formal or has to wait for the next professional development. But the questions have been spectacular. It really helped us, shine a light on some important things. And Adam, terrific job kind of navigating my interruptions and keeping track of the questions. Anything else you wanted to add, Adam, before we wrap up?
No, please email me, and I'm looking forward to setting up an advanced training. And also, I'd like to, like for us to keep these going, because we do have some new features coming out, and I'd really like to incorporate new feature education into these seminars, so that instructors can get access and know how to use all the new features as soon as they've debuted.
Great. Now I'll follow up again with our coordinators on that. But with that, let us just say thanks again and wish you all a good evening. Bye now.
Take care, everyone.
Thank you.